Dirty Sports, episode 804, live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Praino.
Hello, Andy.
Good afternoon.
Is that a backwards Reds hat you're wearing?
It is.
You got your Reds hat. I got my Mets hat. Football's winding down. Baseball normally around the corner. I don't think we'll be wearing these hats in support of our teams until 4th of July.
I haven't even paid attention. What's
Baseball.
the latest?
There is no latest. Max Scherzer, who is, obviously on my team now, is one of the voices of the players, head of the Players Association. And he's basically saying, we have nothing to talk about anymore. We have made a offer to the owners that's fair to everyone, and they're not budging. So fuck them. So no baseball.
Again, it goes back to.
I hope the Super Bowl goes to 14 overtimes.
But it goes back to our point of just no one caring, no one even talking about it. This is a sports show twice a week. I hadn't even looked.
You're deep in Bengals. You're deep in the Bengals news cycle.
Well, yeah. I mean, I live in Cincinnati. I've been deep in that, but I mean, no one's even talking about it. I'm just saying, if there's a lockout going on in the NBA, let's always use the big three. If there was a lockout going on right now in the NBA or especially NFL, everybody would be talking about it.
Well, I mean, I think it's also an off-season thing. People don't. It doesn't become real to people until it starts affecting games. Also, we're in the thick of. We're in playoff Super Bowl NFL run here, so sports fans are a bit distracted.
Yeah, which
I'm like baseball still doesn't have an agreement to come back for opening day, and you're like, the Bengals are still practicing outside.
I mean, it's pretty bad, dude.
I have gotten a couple of people reach out to me though. Apparently, the practicing in the stadium thing that I heard you complained about on our show, and then I also heard you complain about when you made an appearance on the Maddie Goldberg podcast, which was full of Andy Ruther revelations, as has been talked about on Reddit and via our text messages. But a couple of people have reached out to me and said, kind of standard playoff time decision to do that because you can pump in crowd noise through your stadium's speaker system as opposed to on your practice fields.
Well, I figured that. I was more making a comment of just the whole situation, which I had to share with you and Randy Ruther last week. Since the Bengals will be playing mostly indoors, they had to use an indoor practice facility, which, again, for the last 4 years, they have used University of Cincinnati. And we got hit with a big snow/ice storm last week. So the Bengals have to load up a bus with their players and then go again to the local university. Embarrassing. This isn't Pittsburgh, because they always want to bring up Pittsburgh. By the way, the Steelers share a whole facility that was built for Pitt and them. It's not that. It's not a whole facility that was built to share where the university and the team are right next to each other and they share it. This is University of Cincinnati, again, a college. If I just want to keep reiterating that, saying to the professional team, hey, you guys can use our facility. Anyway, the Bengals bus got stuck in the snow. I'm not making this up, on the way to practice at the local college. So think about that. The Bengals, as I've been wrong all year, I'm ready to admit it. I've been admitting it. Prove me wrong. Super Bowl bound Cincinnati Bengals got stuck in the snow on their way to practice. This sounds like something that would happen to a high school, Joe.
Yeah. And we were texting about it, and I said, this has got to be a wake-up call for the Joe Burrows and the Jamar Chases of the world, who were taking private jets full of hookers / boosters' daughters to Chick-fil-A when they were at LSU. They were taking, limousines with hot tubs in the roof to get some fucking Bojangles. And now they are Flintstoning a bus across Cincinnati
as they prepare for the Super Bowl. Like
Yeah.
to me, that's the best part of all this. It's like, it's not a regular season game. They're preparing for the biggest game of their lives. I do love reading the comments of, because you and I always talk about Homer fans or fans that will defend everything. And I loved reading some of the comments underneath the story, because I saw this in the local Cincinnati paper, and multiple comments were like, why should they get an indoor practice facility? It's only like a few times a year or a few weeks a year they need it. And I'm thinking, guys, like I told you, and I looked it up, what is Mike Brown's net worth? It's $925 million.
It also just kind of screams bad businessman, because
Yes.
everywhere else just gets somebody to pay for it. And
Yeah.
we're not talking about the multi-billion-dollar stadiums that you have to get, grants for, and you pay with taxpayer money. I mean, most of the places, most teams are like, hey, Skyline, we're going to do the Skyline Chili practice center at Cincinnati Field or whatever. Why don't you just throw us a couple $1 million for it and whatever? Like every place, every good businessman is like, we can at least offset the cost of this kind of thing. Seems like this Super Bowl run, if they don't do it after this, it almost seems like, what are you doing? Because I mean, I know there's a lot of complaints about how cheap the guy is and all this, and this run you off as a fan. This seems like a real easy one to solve, considering it's the one everybody points to, because it's so easy to do.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like if you dive deep on other football teams, you're like, oh, some teams have this, some teams have this team has this one doesn't. But like everybody has a practice facility. It seems dumb not to just be like, hey, if I just build one of those, I don't have to deal with this thing all the time.
Well, it's people like me. You can shut up idiots like me instantly by building an indoor practice facility. And I don't know, I'm guessing somewhere in the $30 to $50 million range, you could get a state-of-the-art indoor practice facility. I could be off, but I'm thinking that small amount. And again, he's according to what I looked up, he's the second poorest owner, because those guys are all billionaires. Number one would be Mark Davis of the Raiders. But think about that. The second poorest owner has an estimated net value of $900.
Mark Davis is the poorest owner?
Yes, estimated. But again, those guys are still almost billionaires.
Yeah.
Well, I teased this last week. This is kind of a good segue to play, because Thursday we're going to go into the prop bets and the whole preview for the game. But I really wanted to put it out there, like where I was at and where I've kind of dug into the ground and the influence that my father had on me with giving up on the team. And 4 years ago, he did a nice little bit on the podcast rehashing going to the Freezer Bowl, the 1982 AFC Championship between the Chargers and Bengals, which is still on record for the coldest wind chill game in NFL history. So my dad recapped that. And in that, as I re-listened to it, he talks about like why he could never go back and what Mike Brown did to him and ruined his experience. So I figured I'd play this. It's only 3 minutes. And I think this will give perspective to new listeners, old listeners, but I think it's kind of interesting. And it coincides with what we're saying about the indoor practice facility and the team getting stuck in the snow on the way to practice last week.
And of course, the Bengals again were fun then. That was a fun team. So you couldn't pay me to go to a Bengals game now.
What if I gave you, if I said, here's $200 cash, would you do it?
No, would not go there.
$500 cash. No. You do it for $500 cash, Dad.
Well, I'd take the money and not go, and you wouldn't know the difference.
When did you stop rooting for him? Basically, when Paul Brown took over.
Yeah, when Paul Brown died,
or I'm sorry,
when Mike Brown took over. I mean, he's just a disaster.
He's an idiot.
He just doesn't care about winning.
Yeah, because I remember my first Bengals memory is actually the second 49ers Super Bowl. I remember we went to some friends' house. Remember there was a Super Bowl party.
Right, and I made all those helmets with the Bengal stripes on them.
Yeah, you made all that stuff, and I was in the first grade. And you know what I remember? First grade you don't understand football, but I remember how quiet the car ride home was because Montana had just led that, incredible comeback. That was probably one of the last memories for you as far as caring about the team, right? Or no, you cared for a couple more years.
Yeah, I went to a few other games, really. We had a friend that had season tickets, and he had them for years, and nobody would go with him. And out of, pity, I went with him a few times to the Bengals games. His wife wouldn't go. Nobody would go, so he'd go by himself a lot of times.
That's depressing.
Yeah. So it had, one of my memories of those games was he had tickets in the end zone. And the Bengals are losing, of course. One of the patrons put up a group of guys put up a big sheet criticizing Mike Brown. So Mike Brown's Gestapo threw them all out. And at the top of the lungs, the last 30,000 that were in the stadium yelled out, "Mike Brown sucks." Everybody was yelling, "Mike Brown sucks," as loud as they could. So there was, at one time, there was a website, MikeBrownSucks.com. And the Bengals basically sued them to take it down, and I think the NFL had something to do with it also.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So Mike Brown is the type of guy. We had a high school team in the stadium when there was grass on the stadium. The high school was playing a game.
It's a St. X game.
It was a St. X game, and then Mike Brown would not let the band on the field at halftime because it would mess up this turf.
It's unreal.
And then basically a few years later, he made the county of Hamilton County, Ohio, pay to put down AstroTurf and get rid of the grass.
So it was your taxpayer dollars.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the little insight and I like a couple of those stories about him not letting the band onto the field. And I do remember the MikeBrownSucks.com and him suing. I mean, suing, man. And like my dad's probably right. The NFL probably obviously had his back.
The big takeaway from that is your dad's friend that couldn't get anybody to go to the game. Can we match him up? Can we get his phone number so we can connect him with Randy Ruther? Randy will fly to Cincinnati and be Walt's old friend's new friend.
That's hilarious. Actually, you want to hear something funny? My dad was on him every year. Just give up these tickets. Just give up these tickets. You can't get people to go. He had 2 tickets, like I'm saying, like, going back to probably like the 70s. He finally gives them up. And that's when they started like making the playoffs with Marvin Lewis. Like they didn't win playoff games, but the Palmer teams, a lot of them were exciting with Ocho Cinco and Hushman Zot. Like they had fun teams.
Yeah.
And he gave them up when they started winning again. So maybe my dad is the OG Ruther curse. I don't know. But like that's kind of the insight, that's why I think it's been tough for me. And I know people can reconcile that. I just can't, man. I just can't. I wonder if there's conflicted fans. I'd be curious if there's conflicted fans like me who just don't want. My one brother put it best. He goes, I want the Bengals to win a Super Bowl, and I just wish Mike Brown wasn't alive to see it. And I know that sounds kind of harsh.
Yeah.
But I get that sentiment. Who knows, Praino? It might be one of those things. He's 86. It might be one of those things when he passes away that they will change things around. which I'm all for, right? Like his kids might suddenly say, hey, we're getting an indoor practice facility. We're putting an Anthony Munoz statue outside the stadium. We're doing this. You know, you could only hope.
Yeah. I mean, a Super Bowl appearance, you know, I mean, a Super Bowl win possibly on the horizon. You know, maybe it's winning multiple playoff games and seeing the revenue that comes with that is like, hey, you know, maybe being good is worth it.
Yeah. No, you're right. So I don't know. I mean, it has been, I will say it's been interesting to see the whole town is just, you can imagine, just overtaken
by Bengals fever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, what's Cincinnati's thing? I know there's the guy who's chugging Skyline chili. I mean, he has not stopped. I saw that tweet today. This guy will not stop.
Oh, for real? I haven't seen
Skyline
this.
chili. Now, you know, when the Lakers make a run, Lakers flags are always a huge thing. LA, such a driving town. They love their car flags, which I always thought was one of the dumbest things ever, but it's like, it's very much an LA thing. What is it? You know, the flags outside houses.
Yeah.
People out, people in when the San Francisco Giants were good. I mean, you know, I'm wearing my Mets hat, and if you're in New York, the Yankee hat and the Mets hat is kind of a staple. Yankees more so than Mets, but like, I almost think in New York, Yankees hats are almost a fashion statement as much as they are, you know, supporting the team. When the San Francisco Giants were good, and I would go up there to do comedy shows, I mean, everybody had a San Francisco Giants hat on. I was like, wow, this is, you see crazy support in the streets for the team. What is the Cincinnati thing? Flags on houses?
Yeah. Well, I noticed that even midway through the season when I go for my runs, the flags on the houses, the winter, you know, because it's so cold here, like the winter hats more. Bengals, I'd say majority are rocking that. The hats, the flags, all the, like, in my local area, just all the businesses. They're not even advertising for their stuff. Since playoffs, it's like, who day, go Bengals.
Yeah.
It's, this is our time, you know, like, why not us? They're taking quotes from the Bengals players. So all the local businesses are hopping on board, which I do have to laugh at. Again, you know, the owner was awful for your business the last 30 years, but I understand they're trying to capitalize themselves.
Do you know anybody that's coming to California?
I do. I know multiple people, multiple friends of mine. Multiple friends of mine are going.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So we'll see. You know, I've gone back and forth with how I feel this game's going to play out. I have that $1,000. If they win, I lose. My brother has that same thing. We went sledding yesterday with some of the kids in our family, and he's going to hedge, man. He's worried.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to go to the local Indiana casino. I think I'm going to hedge. I said, I'm not.
So you're a huge Rams fan this Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll be there rooting for you, Andy.
Dude, you told me yesterday.
I'll be at the Super Bowl, my first ever Super Bowl, 42 years on earth. I've never been to a Super Bowl.
That's exciting.
I got an invite to a couple through the years. The first one I ever got like a legit invite to, crazily enough, was the Giants Patriots second Super Bowl. And I was like, man, we won that 18 and, you know, the 18-0 season seemed destiny. I feel like flying to Indianapolis of all places to watch them potentially lose this one won't, like, I was like, if this game was in Miami, I'd be there. If this game was in Pasadena, I'd be there. But Indianapolis, I didn't go. Obviously, one of the great regrets. I got invited to the Broncos Panthers Super Bowl. That one was a sort of a, I can get you cheap tickets offer. And I was like, I don't even cheap tickets. Like, I was like, I don't really want to see Panthers Broncos in person. So I watched that one. I was in San Francisco. That's why I got the invite to that one. And now finally this is the first time the Super Bowl has been in the city that I live in. Cause obviously I've only been in New York and LA. It had never been in New York until after I moved to LA. and now it's in LA for the first time since I've been here. Here we are, going to the Super Bowl.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Should be fun. So follow me on Instagram at Joe Praino. We'll try to post some Super Bowl content.
What outside the game are you most excited about for the Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, the halftime show is going to be dope. You know, I was joking with my friend that invited me. We were talking about how exciting this halftime show of all the, I get to go to a year. It's not Katy Perry or Maroon 5. I mean, I get hip hop artists. I was like, I don't know about for coaching, but the Rooney Rule is awesome for halftime shows. I mean, this is perfect. This is exact like, if I was in a New York Super Bowl and they were doing East Coast rappers, I'd be, maybe a little bit more excited, but like Dre, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, it's going to be pretty fun. I'm glad it's not, I'm glad I'm not at a Shakira Super Bowl or a Gaga Super Bowl or something like that.
I think even just seeing how they set up, I think that would be fun to see live, how they go from the game to then setting everything up. Because I've never been to a Super Bowl either, and seeing how they do all that and then break it all down, the amount of people, I think we lose track of that, the amount of people it takes and how well these things are run.
I'm now concerned with like, what do I wear to the Super Bowl? I'm going to be in like a suite situation. So it's like, you don't go in, jeans. I was like, oh, maybe I class it up, but like I go like jersey under, maybe I get a Odell jersey for underneath my jacket.
I was going to say, are you doing anything Rams?
Well, here's the thing. I'm not a Rams fan, but I'm rooting for the Rams.
Sure.
I'm not a Rams fan. I'm like a half a fan. I'm forever a Giants fan, although the Odell thing has pulled me along. And I was like, oh, maybe this is the time. Like I was saying, if they re-sign Odell, I'll get an Odell jersey. Maybe I go Odell merch because I'm going to the Super Bowl. But then I was like, the people that I'll be with don't want to see Odell gear, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. That's a good point.
They're not interested in seeing me hype Odell the whole day.
Sure.
So I will probably not be doing that.
So you're not going to go full cuck. You're not going to be wearing a Raiders jersey and a Raiders hat.
No, not going to be wearing a Raiders jersey and a Raiders hat. I'm not going to be wearing Giants stuff. I'm just going to go. What's kind of been my fashion lighthouse as I've been thinking about it is just the Manning cast. These guys love like the button down with the quarter zip over it. This seems like standard sweet life fashion. It's like get yourself a button down, throw a quarter zip over it. Get a pair of khakis. I don't think I can do that. It's a little too prep dork for me, but we'll see.
Sure. I would love to see how many Raiders jerseys are at the Super Bowl, especially with the game being in LA.
Yeah.
Like, what would you set if we were going to set a line for over under? Tickets are not cheap, as we know. Where would you set the line? Let's say there's roughly 68,000, maybe almost 70,000 people there. What's the over under for fans and Raiders jerseys at the Super Bowl?
It's got to be 3,000. It's got to be 5% of the stadium, right?
You're going to set it that high.
Maybe 2,500. The whole place. Yeah, one a section.
If you're going to the Super Bowl, and probably nobody really is, I would love to see some pictures of Raiders fans in attendance. That'd be fun. Well, you know what day is after the Super Bowl, Joe? Do you know?
It's Valentine's Day.
It is.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is after the Super Bowl. And Valentine's Day, I think, is the perfect day to get your significant other some Harry's razors, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. That's where I'm going with this because, you're always thinking, hey, what do I get? Especially if you're a lady looking to get something for your man. It's a new year. 2022 is the year to break up with these old routines. By old routines, I mean bad razors.
And here's the thing. If you're a man out there, getting yourself some Harry's razors is also a gift to your significant other.
Yeah. Treat yourself or any of the shavers in your life with the gift of looking sharp this Valentine's Day. New customers can redeem a Harry's trial set for just $3 when you go to harrys.com/dirty sports. Harry's delivers a close, comfortable shave at a fair price, still as low as $2 per blade. And I'll tell you what, look at my face. You didn't even make a comment. No one has commented on my face.
Oh, yeah. The beard is gone.
I had 3 months of a beard.
People
Now
always go, you look 5 years younger. You look 25 years younger. You had the graying beard. Now you've gone to babyface Ruther again.
I know. I've been told that I look a lot younger. So DirtBall's new Harry's customers can redeem a starter set. You get a 5-blade razor, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel with aloe, and a travel cover to protect your blades when you're on the go. That's a $13 value for just $3. There's truly never been a better time to try Harry's. Go to harrys.com/dirty sports to try Harry's today. Once again, guys, check this out right now. harrys.com/dirty sports. Well, you did allude to it, and we're talking about my fresh shave. My girlfriend had never seen me without a beard.
We didn't even, the dirty sports fans right now are just shaking. No one even knew about this girlfriend. I feel like you've dipped into your personal life on the show many a times.
I have.
And the first mention of a girlfriend comes on the Sports Hole with Maddie Goldberg. And I was like, wait, did I just hear that right? And then I texted you confirmed. And then later in the day, I was on Reddit and I saw there was a whole thread like, how dare Andy slip this into some other podcast? Have you been hiding it from the DirtBalls because, it was a new relationship and they're going to like hunt for who she is and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think I've been a little more private. I think that it's obvious. I think I've been a little more private in the last I don't know, year and a half since I moved back. I haven't really posted much on Instagram. I'm way less involved with Twitter. Yeah, I just
You're not live tweeting your first dates anymore.
No, I'm not doing any of those shenanigans anymore. I kept it low key. So yeah, I got a lady now, and we actually hunkered down this weekend with the snow and the ice. She got a cute little dog that I was playing with in the snow. So we the three of us, we were doing it up. So
now, is she a Cincinnati native? Is she from Cincy?
Yeah, she's from Northern Kentucky.
So is she a big Bengals fan?
Well, to troll me, she brought over a Bengals jersey to put on her dog this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah. Just to mess with me.
Was it did it mess with you? Was it a Andy Dalton throwback?
No.
Jersey?
I can post the video. It's pretty funny. I was getting the dog. I would say stuff like, bark if you hate the Bengals, and I could get him to bark. And because he did like the jersey was covering his legs, like he didn't want to wear it, so he would bark easily. But yeah, she's from here. She roots for him, but she doesn't want to see me lose $1,000. So I don't think she'll be rooting for him. But yeah, she's a local, and but Northern Kentucky. She's the type of person who, growing up, I was always probably judged like Kentuckian, even though it's literally Cincinnati now that I'm older and not stupid. But
yeah, I want you to know, as a New Yorker turned LA, like if you put a gun to my head and said you have to live in Kentucky or Ohio, I would take Kentucky 100 times out of 100.
Yeah,
there's a lot of great things going on in Kentucky.
Sure.
The Kentucky Derby, the Bourbon Trail. I mean, I know Northern Kentucky is like outer Ohio, but still, you can at least lay claim to some fun things in the state. Louisville Bats, Louisville Sluggers, Ohio. I mean, I guess Joe Burrow went to college there, and yeah, Joe Burrow went to college there.
That's all we got, huh?
And Chris Collinsworth, you can see his house across the river.
yeah. That's a Kentucky representative.
Oh,
Right
you
there.
got that. You got that amusement park you like?
Kings Island.
Kings Island.
Which now that we're divulging some personal stuff, I did get her a Kings Island pass for Christmas.
Wow. You have turned into a real Midwestern. You are Aaron Maharis now. You and your significant other have season passes to your favorite amusement park.
Oh yeah, and it was discussed sledding yesterday.
You and Maharis should do like a trade, like a trade swap. Like he comes to visit your amusement park with his significant other. You come visit his amusement park with your significant other.
I'd be down. In fact, now that my little brother and his family had a pass last year, they're renewing. My other brother and his family, I think I'm going to buy my twin nephew and niece's season passes. Like, I just like, we got to just get the whole family on board. 2022, the year of Kings Island at this point.
And in classic Cincinnati, Kings Island, no indoor winter facility. Just like they don't give a shit enough. They're not trying in the off season.
It's a good point. They do have Winterfest though. You can go ice skating. I do want to bring this up briefly. Glad you brought it back to sports because he works hard. Shout out to Tyler Hawkins who does some great stuff. He has an ongoing Google Drive, for me to look at stuff for the show. And we've talked a lot about Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree, as we all know. Listen to this. Joe Burrow versus Matt Stafford are almost identical in the percent of dropbacks versus play action versus RPO. So it basically looks like, judging from this graph that Tyler put together, Zach Taylor is just really running the same offense as far as play selection with Burrow. So this year, Stafford has had 76% drop back. Burrow's had 82. Play action, Stafford's had 20%, Burrow 15%, and both have had 4% RPO. So very similar, Joe.
Yeah.
How they're running their offense.
Play call strategy.
Very similar play call strategy. And something else he wanted to point out, which I'll mention, and again, we'll go farther into this next episode, but Jalen Ramsey, you'll talk about how he's a lockdown corner and everybody says that. He's been targeted the 12th most times this season among all secondary players. And he's given up more yards than Eli Apple. There's a surprising stat for you.
Yeah. I mean, you also have, I think there's a lot of factors there, but for sure, I think what that shows, listen, Jalen Ramsey is a great corner, but there was a moment there where everybody was acting as if he was, Ramsey Island or whatever like that. And to be honest, he's never really been that guy. So there's that, but also, you look in their division, you look at Seahawks, Cardinals, Niners going up against a little bit more high-powered throwing offenses than, Browns, Ravens, Steelers.
Sure.
But Eli Apple, not their top guy, right? Not covering the number one on the other side of the field all that often.
Correct.
But yeah, you don't want to, it's not something you want to be mentioned in if you're a elite lock. There was never a time where they were like, Darrelle Revis has given up more yards this year than Aaron Ross.
They are really evenly matched, though, statistical wise. Like points per game, both points scored, game, both 27.1. Points allowed, Bengals 22.1, Rams 21.9. Takeaway difference. The Rams are +2. The Bengals are at 0. It is eerily close offensively and defensively how the Bengals and the Rams line up heading into this game.
And like we said, we're going to talk prop bets. We're going to talk MVP bets, first TDs, all that stuff that we always do in a Super Bowl preview show on Thursday. But first of all, I already have my Odell MVP bet locked in because fuck it. Like once I was trying to bet that when he got traded to the Rams and they didn't have that lineup yet. I would have loved to get it at 200 to 1 or 5,000 to 1 or whatever at that time. But I've got that locked in for, my own purposes. But I got to say, in a game where they're so evenly matched, I'm looking at, where the one real, significant difference is. And I'm sniffing around that Aaron Donald MVP prop because obviously their defensive line is so strong. The offensive line of the Bengals weak. Games tend to be a little bit lower scoring in Super Bowls. And, it just feels like one of those games with two quarterbacks who could put up significant numbers. And it'll be like, okay, the winner of this game could be, it could be go to their Super Bowl winning quarterback, as tends to happen, but also in a game where the difference could be a big sack or a big strip sack or a big fumble, whatever. I'm that Aaron Donald MVP prop is looking good. I like it.
Do you think there's a possibility this game could head in the same way last year's game did, by any chance?
You're saying in just a dominating defensive line performance and Joe Burrow?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, like, if you look, and I went and I looked back last night because I was curious. I mean, the Chiefs were never in that game, and he was only sacked 3 times, but he was running for his life. Tampa was the home team playing in, playing in their home stadium. The Rams are playing in their home stadium. I'm just saying, like, do you think it could get to the point where it's like, okay, we're going to chase him around so much, and we do have a good secondary, and the Bucs had a good secondary. I don't know. Like, overall, minus that one quarter. I mean, Joe, realistically, if you take away that one quarter against the Bucs, or quarter and a half when they came back, the Rams D has been pretty locked down this postseason.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, Andy, and you're going to hate to hear it, but the reason I don't think it could be like that game overall is because I think we could potentially see that kind of start of a game. I just think your guy Taylor has shown the ability to make an adjustment one way or the other at halftime, and Andy Reid, for all his coaching genius and, offensive play calling through the years, not Mr. Adjustment, certainly not Mr. Late game strategy. It just seems like that game got away from him, and Andy Reid, was already thinking about Hawaiian shirts and poolside cheeseburger platters. So yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that happening. I could see it being that style of game. But I like your Cincinnati team's ability to make an adjustment to at least get it to the point where it's like, okay, this is going to be a ball game. And I've talked about it throughout these playoffs. The money that I've made on this playoffs so far, the majority of it, in addition to betting heavily on that Niners to beat the Cowboys. And then my next week was, I forget who the next week. The Rams to beat the Bucs, has been betting these games to be close. I've been picking winners and taking this 1 to 6 point winning differential bracket for like 3 to 4 to 1. It just seems to me like the idea that this is going to be a 10-point game seems crazier to me. Like, I would be less surprised by a 2 overtime game than I would a 20-point victory for somebody, like, I just feel like it's going to be relatively close.
Yeah. Aren't those the games that always trick us, though?
Yeah. But I mean, just the way the season's played out. I mean, you tend to ride the trends. I don't remember another year where we had overtime game after overtime game, where we had an entire weekend decided by field goals, where we had whatever. It just seems like the parity at this point is, perfection. I mean, you think about like, the Chargers Raiders game at the end of the year, and then the Raiders kind of giving the Bengals a game to open the thing. And now the Bengals are in the Super Bowl. It's like, we're not that far removed. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. If you look how all this was, that like, this is a Rams Chargers Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And like, it's just crazy to me how much parity there's been when you look at the teams in that made the playoffs. Like, I think we all agree The Eagles didn't really have a chance. I made a lot of money because I thought the Cowboys were also paper tigers. But if you look around the league, I mean, where else were there like major blowouts?
No, you're right. It's been a league, or I'm sorry, it's been a season where the league
That
is
Chiefs,
100%.
I forget who the Chiefs play week for the in the wild card weekend. Whoever they kicked the shit out of them. The Steelers, right? Another team that was like kind of doesn't belong here. Otherwise, I feel like besides those three teams, and the Patriots getting their ass kicked, I think Buffalo had a perfect game that day. But 3.5, 4 teams, I feel like this could be anybody's Super Bowl.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm just kind of tossing out questions, playing a little devil's advocate.
Yeah.
As I, get ready for this game. Well, you just mentioned the Eagles. We got to talk about their former head coach back in the NFL. I knew you'd love this. Doug Peterson. So the Jags went from Urban Meyer, which we all saw was going to be a debacle, to Doug Peterson, which ended in a debacle in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't really have a super strong feelings on this. I mean, the guy obviously has a Super Bowl on his resume. The idea that we've seen in the NFL so many retreads of head coaches. I mean, it looks like Lovie Smith is going to get the Texans job.
It's unbelievable.
And that's fine. Like, I'm not saying that's like a horrible decision or anything, but I'm just saying we have seen retreads and the justification for these retreads a million times. So if you're going to retread, I would at least retread with a guy who's won a Super Bowl. That being said, I think the Jaguars, if you look at the season they've had this year, they're probably a team now that we know there are coaches out there that are incentivizing losing so that you can have better draft picks. This is a doubly good hire because I don't even think you have to pay Doug Peterson extra to lose. I think he'll pay you a little bit extra so he can lose games on purpose. The dude loves losing games on purpose. So a perfect fit for a Jaguars team with a young quarterback that maybe needs to lose for a couple more years to reload around him. Bring in a guy who has Super Bowl on his resume and losing games on purpose on his resume. Honestly, almost a perfect fit for the Jaguars.
Yeah. I just, I'm not a fan of retreads. We've talked about this. And nothing against some of these guys, nothing against a Peterson or a Lovie Smith. And I think when we have these discussions, especially about coaches and giving new coaches an opportunity, and obviously the lawsuit that Brian Flores filed, it's just like, to me, that is a lot of the problem is the retreads. And like Lovie Smith, that one shocks me. I mean, let's not forget, like, he went back to college and he really wasn't that successful. He went back to Illinois, as their head coach. And I think he was a really good coordinator. And obviously Lovie Smith went to a Super Bowl with the Bears, but I don't know. It's some of these are kind of head scratchers. I think the Doug Peterson one kind of is too. Josh McDaniels and the Raiders, I see more. I understand it a little more. Then we have the Dolphins hiring the offensive coordinator from San Francisco, Mike McDaniel.
Not related to Josh McDaniels, as we know, because Josh McDaniels' father is not of African descent, which is now this is a remarkable story.
This is like Mike Tirico being Italian.
I mean, there's no evidence of, I've seen the stories about it. There's no Mike McDaniel father photo on the internet. But it's definitely got some, what's my dude who blocked me on the internet for calling him, blocked me on Twitter for calling him Sean Paul.
Oh, it's got total vibes of, God, why am I forgetting his name too?
Yeah.
It's got Sean King.
Sean King. Yeah.
It's got Sean King vibes.
But sure. Also, it's like this is the problem with the Rooney Rule and like the whole thing, like all this stuff. It's now we're getting into conversations about, is this guy, who cares? oh, he considers himself multiracial or biracial or whatever. And so now they technically have a minority head coach, which gets them like, it's just crazy. Like the whole, it seems like it's defeating the whole purpose of this. This is the second time this season that we've now seen this thing fail in the way that it's supposed to work. So now the Giants, whether or not, you believe what they said, or if you believe what Flores said, I mean, I kind of believe everybody involved. It seems like they had their guy picked, but they're going to do their due diligence and interview everybody else anyway. Just because they have a favorite doesn't mean that that's locked in, but essentially maybe you've interviewed a guy who you're probably not going to hire, and now you're hiring a guy. Is any part of this because they're like, oh, well, this checks a box for us? Seems so dumb.
Well, I
also,
think
like, why is it coming up? Like, why do why
well,
this
is what I was going to say. This is why it's coming up. When Adam Schefter tweets out something like this, new Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel, and the wording, I mean, he is really trying to get this thing to take off and open this discussion by wording it. New Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel, who identifies as multiracial, now joins Mike Tomlin, Ron Rivera, and Robert Saleh as the NFL's only minority head coaches. Think about that, Joe. If Adam Schefter knows what he's doing, and I think he's a bot, and so do you.
I mean, I also think, the crazy thing so far and Schefter, I don't know if he tweeted this morning, but just like out of the gate, the decisions to have Sean King and Rachel Dolezal as his coordinators seems like they're pushing this narrative a little too far.
I mean, though, you see what I'm saying? Like,
they were like, you hired Sean King as your offensive coordinator, former Tampa Bay quarterback? He's like, absolutely not. Different Sean King. That Sean King is black. This Sean King identifies as black.
Who identifies as multiracial. Schefter is totally stirring the pot with that tweet. And you're right. I don't really care. I mean, if he's a good coach, he's a good coach. We don't know. We'll see. A lot of people have said a lot of good things about what he had done in San Francisco. At this point, I'm confused. I don't know anymore, Joe. I don't know anymore when you have a guy who was in San Francisco and also Shanahan. Like, I'm confused when you haven't. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Shanahan's calling the plays, but is this guy such an integral part of it? That's why he's getting a job. I don't know anymore. We see the same thing in Kansas City with Bieniemy.
Well, it seems like in addition to identifying as multiracial, a big selling point was, San Francisco's success offensively and his apparent outspoken love of Tua. They wanted, Flores didn't like Tua. He leads them to multiple consecutive winning seasons for the first time in 20 years or whatever, but he doesn't like their quarterback. We've talked about it before on the show. Quarterback, GM, head coach. Those are the big three, most important three. Like, the offensive line, obviously important, defensive line, important, but like you need two of the three of those to be good and be on the same page and be whatever. Flores didn't like Tua. He's out despite his success. And a guy who loves Tua is in. So the GM and the quarterback were on the same page. They both like Tua, and now they needed to bring in a coach that likes Tua too.
So there's two openings right now, Minnesota and New Orleans, which are both very interesting jobs, I would say.
Well, New Orleans is New Orleans seems like the perfect job for a retread. It seems like somebody who's like, hey, I'm going to have one last hurrah as a head coach, because they're in cap, nightmare land. So it's going to be a tough job to go and win.
Yeah.
But you also have a Panthers without a quarterback. You have a Falcons, who are just like, annually disappointing with an aging quarterback. You've got Tom Brady retiring from the Bucs. So it's, as far as divisions go, it's one that's very up in the air, but it just seems like a real tough task to take on that job if you've got other options. Minnesota, we all know what I think about the Minnesota situation. And, you talk about a GM and a coach in Miami, a GM and a quarterback in Miami, and the coach is the one that's getting run out of town. I feel very similarly about the Minnesota situation. And I'm not that big a Tua fan, but if at least Tua's young and controllable, and we don't know what he has the ability to do yet with certain coaching, but man, to run your coach out of town, to be the GM and move on from a coach, and I think they got rid of their GM in Minnesota as well. So to go to the big three and whittle it down to just Kirk Cousins, I wouldn't take the job if they offered it to me. They'd be like, we brought Joe Praino in for a second interview. I'd be like, my second interview is the same as my first. Get rid of the fucking nightmare that is your quarterback situation. Or I have no interest. I will remain a co-host of the Dirty Sports Podcast.
What about Nick Swartzen?
Nick Swartzen,
Vikings head coach.
As Vikings coach.
Yeah, what about Nick?
I guess with the rumors of blindness, he could appreciate Kirk Cousins. I think that's the only way you can appreciate Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
If you have vision issues.
So we just talked about the Saints. Alvin Kamara arrested Pro Bowl weekend for a battery charge at a Las Vegas nightclub. You think the NFL's regretting this whole Vegas decision at all with the team and now the Pro Bowl?
I don't know. I mean, it just seems to me like the nightclub situation is more like, I think you could go to Vegas. I think Vegas is fine. It's just wherever you let these guys go and hang out there. It's off season. This is not going to be the last NFL player in a nightclub assault we hear this off season.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. We've seen a lot of things happen.
I think the Pro Bowl, just the Pro Bowl, what a sham at this point. Like, what are we doing?
I didn't watch a second of it.
I just saw clips. A full on. I don't even understand. I don't even understand how the game is refereed. They were just blowing the whistle while guys were still up, untouched. And you're like, how did you just decide he was down? Like, how did we do this?
Yeah. I don't know why it's a thing, to be honest. That's why I can't wait for the Super Bowl. I'm stoked. I'm really excited.
Oh, I've never been more excited for a non-Giant Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, Joe, speaking of LA and the Super Bowl, LA-based furniture and rental company Furnish is taking a big bet on the Rams for this Super Bowl. Being a little homer with the home team, right?
Yeah. Now, I know they're not technically the home team, but I think we all know they are the home team.
Sure.
Right? And Furnish, I actually have some furniture from Furnish. Awesome furniture rental, rent-to-own company. Like, you think about rental furniture, like just that term in your head, you think like grandma apartment. This is not that. I actually think their stuff is like hip, cool. They have, they put together like there's a style plan for you, and they're LA based. So they're essentially giving you discounts for a Rams win.
So Furnish is offering a tier discount of up to $1,000 off rentals on orders placed before Sunday's kickoff. The greater the Rams' margin of victory, the greater the savings. It's $125 off for a Rams win with a spread that increases up to $1,000 if they win by 25 or more points. So again, this is all based on a Rams W and the points. So if the Rams win outright, you get $125 off. If the Rams win by 4 points, you get $250 off. If the Rams win by 11 points, $375 off. If the Rams win by 18 points, $500 off. And if the Rams blow out the Bengals and win by 25 points or more, you get $1,000 off. Orders need to be placed before kickoff on Sunday, and the discount will be applied starting March 1st, 2022. The Super Bowl is a home holiday like no other, and given Furnish was built to make people feel right at home, the company says it feels only right to roll out an offer that gives everyone a home field advantage. It's crucial to be comfortable at home at all costs, so Furnish is betting big they can help make that happen and have a bit of fun along the way. Rent your furniture from Furnish for a minimum of 2 months, then return it, swap it out for something else, buy it, or even rent to own. Free 7-day delivery, free assembly. Learn at FERNISH.com. That's FERNISH.com. Use code HOMETEAM. Terms and conditions apply.
Cool offer, I think. I might put in an order for more Furnish furniture myself. I mean, like, I can't think about all we've gone through, Andy, with the couch and the old smut couch.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you buy it and then you're like, I keep it way too long. The only way to get rid of it is to axe it into pieces and sell it off to our fans. What if you were able to just rent it?
That'd be nice.
And then the second you feel like, oh, you know what? I've had guy on couch sleeping on this for a week. Maybe it's time to return this and get a fresh look.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm excited. I'm excited that we've partnered with Furnish, and I'm excited to hear about DirtBalls spending some dough on it and maybe getting some discounts for a Rams victory.
That's right.
You must also love that. I mean, you're obviously rooting hard for the Rams.
I am. Yeah.
The Dirty Sports Podcast at this point is basically full on the Rams bandwagon. You, me, Furnish, and on the opposite side, just Randy Ruther.
Randy Ruther sitting tight.
Randy Ruther is going to have a new house after this, so this is a win-win for him. He could furnish a new house with Furnish.
That's right. So LeBron really wants to play with Bronny. Have you seen this?
I mean, this has been the rumor for a long time, right?
He's even willing to leave the Lakers.
I mean, Bronny would be in the NBA at the earliest when?
He's a junior now.
Right. So next year he'd be a senior.
Correct.
The year after he would be a freshman. And then technically the year after he could be in the NBA. I forget. Are we done? Can you go straight from high school to the NBA these days?
No. I don't know either. After June of 2023. Yeah, so it'd be like June of 2023.
Okay. So after next season, 2 seasons from now.
I wonder how good he really is, though.
Right.
You know, he's got the numbers, but actually, no, I'm reading his dad's. I'm reading LeBron's numbers. Never mind. I was like, he's got the numbers. Those are LeBron's numbers.
LeBron leading the league in scoring in year 19. He wants that. He wants that Kareem record. He wants that career scoring record. He wants to be all done with the stuff so he can go out with a couple games with Bronny on the same team. I mean, it would be a pretty cool story.
Has that ever happened before?
I'm sure it has not.
There's no way.
And, you know, not to, you know, keep the GOAT. People love to do the GOAT conversation and bring up like the most insane things to talk about Michael Jordan, you know, like hand checking and days of rest and stuff like that. But I remember Michael Jordan Jr., I think, warming the bench at UPenn.
Did he go to UCF, University of Central Florida?
Yeah, there was another one, I think.
Is that another one?
Yeah, I think there was another one of his kids. I think one of his kids went to Penn, UCF. I mean, if Bronny goes to the NBA, now he won't have to deal with hand checking. So it's a little bit of an easier path.
All right, let's pull up Bronny James' stats. He's played 7 games this year.
Yeah, it's only February.
Or is this last year's stats?
I'm more interested in the old eye test, but I haven't watched any Bronny James games.
I haven't either. Dang, he's when did Bronny James suddenly look like he's 25?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right around this time, probably junior year of high school. It's a good leap.
I got Bronny James some of those Harry's razors.
I mean, this story is like, I mean, if LeBron sticks around, what are the chances LeBron's a Laker 2 full seasons from now anyway?
Exactly. Who knows?
I mean, I guess if he keeps playing like this, the Lakers might be smart to like keep him. But they got a lot of problems.
Yeah. Are you watching any of these Winter Olympics?
I am. So here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up, Andy. Are you watching any of these Winter Olympics?
So I put it on for the first time last night when I was on the treadmill. I put on skiing, and no lie, I was so bored.
Really? Were you watching the giant slalom that was on last night?
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, there was multiple wrecks during that giant slalom.
Okay, the wrecks I liked, but
yeah.
I'll be honest. And the announcers, I normally listen to the announcers. I muted that. I was like, I don't care what you guys have to say.
Well, let me give you my tip and the tip for everybody out there who's maybe struggling to watch the Winter Olympics right now.
Smoke a bunch of weed first.
Yeah. And also do what I'm doing. Bet heavily on things you know almost nothing about. I put in a bet yesterday. Now, I know there's a lot of different betting sites out there now. It's legal in different states and not legal in different states and which places are. But try to do what I did. I am finding the weirdest, funnest Winter Olympics bet. Did you see that some figure skater last night pulled off the first quadruple in Olympic history or something like that? The first quadruple jump. I found a bet that was just like, will somebody successfully land a quadruple jump? I was like, well, this is awesome. Bet that. Hit it. It's great. I'm betting head to heads in bobsledding, in luging, in snowboarding. They'll just give you 2 people and it's like, who's going to finish higher? I can't even pronounce their names, but I go like, I'm going to bet on this person. And then I just sit back and I wait and win. I'm doing cross sport parlays, biathlons and slaloms and luges. It's the most fun I've ever had gambling, is just doing 3 minutes of research on these athletes and then suddenly becoming the world's biggest Swedish giant slalom fan because I've got money on the line. Guys,
are you like watching this stuff?
Yeah, because it's like we're in that weeks between the Super Bowl, the playoffs and the Super Bowl. We've got the Pro Bowl pretending to happen. You had Pebble Beach golf yesterday, which I also I had a fun Pebble Beach and luge parlay. I mean, just going cross sport parlays, just keep myself entertained until Thursday gets here and we can start doing prop bets and Super Bowl picks and all that. But I mean, it's throw a bet down on first ever successful quadruple and then just watch some ladies figure skating. I don't even know what ice dancing is, but I have a couple $100 riding on some ice dancing coming up.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. It's tough, man. Like yesterday was the first Sunday without football since I think September 12th or 13th or something. And I was out with my family. I'm just like, dude, I don't really care. I don't know. It's tough for me. And also, had to watch those Pam and Tommy episodes.
Oh, you're deep in the Pam and Tommy? How many episodes are there?
There's going to be 8, but it's Hulu. So they released the first 3 and now it's every Wednesday.
Man,
I'm 3 in.
I wish I could bet on the Pam and Tommy series.
What's crazy? So I was watching it like I said, we were pretty much holed up. So I was watching with my girlfriend and we're like, and I kept saying, how much of this is accurate? How much of this is accurate? You can fact check it. The first 3 episodes are wildly accurate, which I couldn't believe. Like I was so ignorant to how they met, to how this all played out, how it was stolen. Like it's look, it's not a Breaking Bad series, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's entertaining. Yeah. You have good enough actors. I don't know, man. I think it's worth it. I'm excited to finish the next 5, but holy shit, man. It's wild. Like they didn't even know each. So basically they take Rolling Stone had a big article from 2014, which is the premise for this show. And they basically take from that article, which is the viewpoint of the guy who stole the sex tapes, a disgruntled carpenter who was working in his house. And they also take from Tommy Lee's book. They didn't know they met in Mexico. They didn't know anything. Well, they met before that, but they didn't know anything. They were like flying home. And there's like a scene I don't want to give away the show too much, but there's like a scene in this, and it's basically straight out of Tommy Lee's book where like we didn't know anything about each other after 4 days. We got married. We're flying home. And she's like, what's your favorite breakfast? I don't. Like, what's your favorite movie? Like, we knew nothing.
So this is where we're at right now. You're binging the Pam and Tommy Lee Hulu show.
Yeah.
And I am betting on female figure skating. And by the way, I should correct that. It was the first quadruple in female figure skating.
Okay.
Yeah. Men have been doing it for a while. But the first successful one in female. And I hit it. And it was glorious. I mean, Andy, right now, I just wanted to tell you right now, this is the kind of things I got. The winning margin of the Beijing men's giant slalom today. You can get plus 350 at 0, 2, and including 0.14 seconds. So you're getting 3.5 to 1 on it being a close race. You could do 0.3 to 0.44. You have 400 to 1. I mean, this is not 400 to 1, 4 to 1 plus 400. But you know me, I've been killing the playoffs betting these close games. I'm just gonna bet close men's giant slalom.
So the Olympics goes to the 20th. I just looked it up. So there's still a couple more weeks.
I'm waiting. My site doesn't have the odds up yet for the men's half pipe. I'm gonna put a little money down on the now long shot Shaun White to win the half pipe. Not favored for probably the first time in his Olympic career.
You remember you and I got really baked and watched the Olympics?
Was it summer or winter?
Winter. It would have been 2014, pre-Dirty, or was this Dirty Sports? Yeah, it would have been Dirty Sports.
Okay. I don't remember, but
I came over, got really baked.
And what did we watch?
We were watching
we're watching curling.
We were watching? Not long jump. What's it called? Where they
the ski jump?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I love the ski jump.
And that's when I was doing those Vine voiceovers.
The Andy Ruther Vine game.
And the guy crashes, and I'm like, whoa! I'm like doing some dorky voice, like, and I fell. Like it was so bad. And we were just all, I guess one of those things where like I'm taking naps on the couch. Like
I know you're not in the social media game anymore, but I feel like the Andy Ruther sports voiceover does at the Dirty Sports need a TikTok account?
I refuse to do TikTok. You can do it. I don't even want to jump into anything else. I can't do it. I mean, have at it. I am growing to like Reddit, I will say, because Reddit can actually have discussions, right?
Sure. You
can like
have. That's where Girlfriend Gate first really got its legs going, you know?
Yeah. You can go back and forth with somebody in what I would deem a cordial manner because you have the characters. And I don't think it's too caustic as like Twitter would be. By the way, Peng Shuai is back.
That's good.
We're talking about
Where
the
is
Olympics.
she, Andy?
Well, she resurfaced over the weekend. Once again, at this point, it's basically known that the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, is definitely like under Chinese control, I would argue, because like they're acting like everything's fine too.
Well, I'm just excited that it happened today, and you're breaking this news to me. But I bet over under Valentine's Day for the resurfacing of Peng Shuai. I mean, I'm deep in the Olympic gambling game at this point.
Okay, so the
Peng Shuai is officially returned.
Yeah, so the IOC president, Thomas Bach, said he met with Miss Peng on Saturday in his first face-to-face meeting. Obviously, the Olympics are in China, so this is all coming back. Saying the IOC released a statement on the matter, but they did not mention the controversy. I mean, you have to love this. Wait. So you met with her, but you're not even discuss what's happening.
So how you been?
The announcement also came in tandem with the publication of an exclusive interview that she did with the French sports daily L'Equipe a day earlier. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I don't know French, in Beijing. So she had a 1 hour conversation. You're going to love this. She had a 1 hour conversation with two French journalists.
So what's going on?
She reiterated that she had never accused anyone of sexual assault. She said, I never disappeared. Everyone could see me. But you'll love this. L'Equipe, I just like saying that, even though I'm butchering it, noted in its article that Wang Kang, chief of staff for the Chinese Olympic Committee, was present for the entire duration of the interview.
Yeah. I've never been threatened. Wang Kang.
Also, its questions had been submitted in advance. I mean, come on, guys. Why are we even talking about this?
Yeah.
She's sitting there with a Chinese Olympic Committee chief of staff. The questions were submitted in advance, and she's saying, nothing ever happened to me. I've always been around. And she's definitely not coming back to play tennis. Those days are behind her now. In the interview, she wasn't even explicitly asked about her understanding of sexual assault or coerced sex from her earlier claims. But here's what I love from the IOC.
I love that they're not even talking about the thing that made her disappear.
Yeah.
Guys, that's not really important right now. Just like, how are you? What's going on?
Listen to this. You'll love this one too. Asked at a regular news briefing about whether the IOC believed Miss Peng was sexually assaulted and whether she was speaking freely, Mr. Bach, again, the president of the IOC, no. IOC spokesman Mark Adams said, "We are a sports organization. I don't think it's for us to be able to judge, just it's not for you to judge either." So now the IOC isn't even commenting. Dude, again, the Women's Tennis Association is the only one with balls in this situation. They gave up
Ironically.
they gave up like 1/6 of what they earn by giving up those tournaments in China. 1/6, almost 20%. They have been willing to give that up. The Women's Tennis Association is the only one with nuts. Not the IOC, not anyone else. I mean, who are these reporters from L'Equipe? So, what'd you have for breakfast today, Miss Schwang?
Yeah.
It's pretty unbelievable. But anyway, that's our Peng Shuai update.
Peng Shuai. You just gave her the Shuang because we were talking so much about Wang Kang, which is understandable.
Can you imagine somebody sitting over you while you're giving an interview? somebody who literally can be responsible for killing you. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh no, nothing happened. I didn't tweet that, but you did. I know I didn't. So that is that's our update from there. Do you want to get to some dirtball calls?
Let's do it.
Before we do that, Joe.
Ooh.
We've referenced it a few times. I'm in a relationship now, and I think it's very important, as you would agree, and I think most dirtballs would agree. It's important to discuss our relationships with a professional, right? Because like all relationships, you're always going to encounter some bumps in the road. Not that I had any of those this weekend. My first 4-day weekend with my lady, so, sometimes there's bumps in the road, and luckily you can talk to somebody at Talkspace. Guys, there's not a better app out there to speak with a licensed therapist 24/7. If you're dealing with any sort of problems in your relationships, personal problems, you're trying to cope with the team that you used to root for, then you shunned making the Super Bowl like me, there are licensed therapists out there to help make that work. And they're all over at Talkspace.
If you have to deal with attending the Super Bowl the day before Valentine's Day, Super Bowl, Valentine's Day, back to back. Guys, write down our Talkspace code.
Yeah, this really couldn't be a better time to talk to a professional, because I think we're all going to need a lot of advice in the next week. So join Talkspace today and start the journey to a happier, healthier relationship. Just visit Talkspace.com and get $100 off your first month when you use promo code DIRTY at sign up. That's $100 off at Talkspace.com, promo code DIRTY. Okay. We have some calls today, as always. 310-359-8365. The first call is about a Ruther curse thing that it's funny. They're like slowly trickling in a good one that we forgot. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, but I'm going to play this out.
Hey guys, Ryan Clag calling in from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the Ruther curse, obviously, with the Bengals making it to the Super Bowl. And you guys were going through some of the biggest Ruther curses of all time. But I want to remind you of my personal favorite one, and likely Tug Coker's as well. Let's go back to right before the 2019 Masters tournament. Andy Ruther says on the show that Tiger Woods has no chance of winning the Masters. And he might have even gone as far as saying that everyone else in the field has a chance to win except for Tiger. And what happens? Fucking Tiger wins his first major in 11 years. And his first major when trailing after 3 rounds. So just incredible work by the Ruther curse. And yes, I'm a Tiger stan, and I know you guys have raised some great points about how we shouldn't like him, but what can I say? I'm nostalgic for him like a lot of people, and I own that. But also, side note, if you haven't watched the Tiger documentary on HBO, do so. It does not hold back, especially on his father, who is a real fucking scumbag. But anyways, that's all for me, and condoms are for the MILF Talk guests.
Wow, what a throwback. What an absolute throwback. He goes, condoms are for the MILF Talk guest.
Oh, it's great, right?
What? I was like, condoms are for what? Then I remembered. That was wasn't that the Phillip Rivers? Wasn't there Phillip Rivers boobs bet going on in that?
Yeah, she lost the bet and had to send a boob picture.
And then put Phillip Rivers pasties over it or something like that?
Over her nipples.
Wild. Digital sports history. But yeah, that was a good, some would say that my, stance on Tiger Woods all these years, absolutely shredded by the Ruther curse. The only reason we're still talking about Tiger Woods, anybody's still talking about Tiger Woods, besides the people that are just obsessed and whatever, is that because Andy Ruther cursed the rest of the Masters field. And Tiger Woods managed to get a 2019 Masters win. The Ruther curse is unbelievable. I mean, just don't say anything about Tiger Woods at this point, because it seems like Tiger Woods is done from here on out. So don't go giving him one last glimmer of hope, Andy.
I just want to know what really happened. The curiosity factor.
Yeah.
I still need to watch the thing on HBO as well.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I've heard. All right. We've talked a lot about gambling. Here's a call for you.
Great.
JT from Jersey here, quick hitter. How does Vegas set lines so fucking well all the time? And do you think there's any chance that Vegas and NFL are paired up and they're just fucking botching games left and right just to hit the line? What am I missing here? Like, what is in the water in Vegas that they can just do all this shit all perfectly? So, I don't know, guys. Condoms are for Bartnick.
So how do they set the lines?
It is pretty remarkable. So basically what happens, and there's a great book I read years ago called The Odds that talks about, I believe it's the guys. Oh man, I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to forget which casino it is, but there's one guy who is like, there's one sports book who kind of sets the original line. And then it all happens after that. Everybody like every, sports book has, a guy, and they're all probably in the same realm, but there's one there, and maybe it's changed over the years, but there was always one spot that kind of like led, because, so here's the thing, the way big gamblers make their money is by big handicappers make their line in their head, and then they wait for the Vegas line to come out. That's why you see the lines move a lot very quickly, will change, and then don't usually change that much throughout the week. Although if they do, it tends to be public money. But the big gamblers with the big bankrolls are the ones who move the line immediately, because let's say a game is like, the Super Bowl came out at 3.5 or whatever, and the sharps have it at 4.5. They immediately, before the line can move at all, go and put $100,000 bets on the Rams, and those big bets that come in immediately are what move the lines. So to answer the question as best I can is, first of all, there's incredible handicappers out there who make the line. Now, obviously, we've seen Super Bowls with lines that were way off. We've seen huge games with lines with way off. And like, so it's not a perfect science, but what tends to happen is those handicappers get pretty close to the right number. And then the handicappers, the great handicappers that are working on their own, fix that number themselves within the first couple of minutes. So when you get the line the day after the AFC and NFC championship game, when you look at that line last Monday, it's already been adjusted slightly in the right direction. So now when you go back and look at, oh man, this game came in right at the exact number. It's like, yeah, because they were off by a point, but then it got adjusted. But
are they the initial line? Is there some sort of mathematical formula that they're putting in to say, like that, like the Super Bowl opened, I want to say most betting places around like 3.5, right?
Right.
Where are they coming to that 3.5 point number?
That's just handicapping. That's just somebody who's looking at all the information they've had of all these teams, the matchup, whatever. And, that's how handicappers who work for casinos lose their job, is they go like, 3.5. And then huge bettors come in that first day are like, oh, we have it at 7. So if you see a line move in the first couple of days, that's when, casinos lose lots of money. But the strategy for a handicapper as well, especially somebody who works at a casino, they have to consider public money. They have to consider when a team like the Patriots or the Cowboys or the Giants or whoever are in a game, or the Raiders, whoever, these big popular teams, that they're trying to get balanced money on both sides. So they have to consider, hey, we got to go a little bit more a line in one direction to lure people who are not fans of this team onto the other side of this line, because we know no matter what, Cowboys fans are coming in and betting on the Cowboys. So there's a lot to process, which is why it is remarkable how often it comes in like the spread's 2.5 and it's a 2-point game, or it's like a 3-point game, but they missed the extra point and it's a 2-point game. You're like, dude, this is basically like a 2.5-point spread. It's amazing. I don't think it's like, I don't know how it would be possible to fix games to a point spread, other than to say, like, when in doubt, if you're a ref, like, know that this is what the spread is and like let this happen or don't let this happen. I just think these days, with all the information and also with the like, you used to be able to fix sporting events because an NBA player made $20,000. So if you were like, oh, I'll just pay him $50,000 to blow this game, then it's easy. But now with all these athletes making millions and millions and millions of dollars, they're making more than, big time gamblers. So how do you convince them to fix games? I mean, there's probably something in there that can be adjusted ever so slightly. And I'm sure the NFL is in cahoots with, refs and I'm sure for so long, the NFL pretended it didn't know gambling existed, but I think we all know that the whole time the NFL is very aware what the Super Bowl line is and very aware of the gambling that was going on the game. So I think, to answer the question, I don't think it's that fixed. And I just think that it's remarkable handicappers on both sides of the betting window, remarkable handicappers working in casinos, and remarkable handicappers that see the problem with the line in the first 10 minutes. Because, I mean, I'm sure Brandt has talked about this. Like, I think that was one of his games, was like being a runner. So it's a guy sitting there with like $100,000 in a suitcase, waiting for the line to go up, calling a handicapper and being like, they just put it up at 4.5 and being like, put it all on this team. And therefore, in that first 5 minutes, when some guy drops a suitcase full of money on you, you're like, oh, maybe we fucked up.
Yeah.
Maybe we should bring this line down a little bit, try to lure $100,000 of public money on the other side. So I just think it's remarkable handicappers working kind of against each other, but also together in a way.
Yeah, it is insane how close they are.
But also we have Super Bowls. We've had 14-point Super Bowls that, the underdog won.
Sure.
And Vegas is taking a beating on,
Well, here's an interesting call. I'll be curious if you have an answer for this.
Hey, Dirty Sports. This is McKay from the 2030, hopefully, NBA champion Houston Rockets. I love key lime pie, and when I go to, and the only time I seem to get key lime pie is usually at a seafood restaurant. Like, key lime pie isn't everywhere, when I want a pie, I want a good key lime pie. So my question is, is a good food that you like that usually isn't at a restaurant, but should be at every restaurant? All right. Have a great day. Bye.
McKay, our old buddy from Houston that we went to the Stros game with a few years ago. So I think this is an interesting question. Like, an item at a restaurant, or item that should be at more restaurants that we like, that you're like, why isn't this on more menus?
Yeah, I don't know what the relation of key lime pie to, like you said, seafood restaurants. I haven't even ever put that together. You know what I mean? But obviously, restaurants have a style. You're not going to be like, I think a cheeseburger should be on every menu, and then I go to a sushi place and there's no fucking cheeseburgers, Sure. But I think so. Here's what my answer is, and this may be a little bit off of what he's saying. I think regardless of the style of restaurant, every restaurant should have soup. Every restaurant should have a soup. I love soup.
I hate soup.
What?
We've
You
discussed
hate
this.
soup?
I hate soup. It's not a meal.
What does that even? Well, first of all, no one's saying it's a meal. I mean, it can be a meal.
Like I would put soup probably last on my list. Last.
Of what?
Like things to eat. Last. Dead last.
I eat soup in the winter 3 or 4 days a week.
Never been a soup guy.
I love soup. I'm a soup stan. I love ramen. I love pho. I love French onion soups. I like chowders.
No,
like
give me. It's not food. Give me
like
food.
Noodle soup.
Give me food.
I mean, I'm sure you eat pasta with chicken occasionally, right?
Sure, of course.
Put it in some broth. Now you have chicken noodle soup, bro.
No, man, it's just not my thing.
I think every restaurant, regardless of style, should have a soup.
And
even if they're the
burritos.
kind of place that's like, listen, I'm for a soup of the day, but also I think you should have a standard. Be like, listen, we know people are going to come here. I want some soup. Like we should have one soup,
Every place should have a burrito.
regardless of type of restaurant.
I don't care. Give me a goddamn burrito. I love burritos. What about French fries? I mean, almost every place could do a fry.
I feel like the answer too is like in the desserts. Desserts seem to be like culinary. Like, yeah, I could see going with like a pie. I mean, key
Chocolate
lime pie.
cake.
Yeah, ice cream.
Chocolate cake, man.
I'm going with soup
I understand your rationale. It makes sense. It makes
because
sense.
every type of culinary thing has a soup. Give me a soup.
Oh, no.
I want to go eat soup right now.
I knew you would say that. My neighbor, she'll leave me food. She's real nice. She like left me a soup a few weeks ago. I wanted to throw it at her house. Like, give me something real next time. Leaving soup in my front door.
I mean, also a soup as an appetizer, glorious.
I always want to eat more.
Well, I'm saying maybe soup's not your entire meal. I mean, it can be.
That's why it's
But then you
soup and sandwich.
Yeah, but then you got to eat a lot of soup. You know, ramen is a meal, but that's like there's a lot that goes into that soup. You know what I mean? But listen, I go to a pub, a little French onion, and then a burger. I go to a pub, I get a little chowder and a steak. Let's go.
But you're just proving my point. You got to like eat something else with
Well,
it.
McKay didn't say that you should go to restaurants and be like, what would you like for your entree, sir? And it's like key lime pie. I'll take the soup and a pie.
I'm not a fan of key lime pie either.
I love key lime pie.
No, if I'm going to do pies, that's like last on my list.
What's higher? What do you got? I love key lime pie.
Dude, come on. Pumpkin pie, apple pie.
Pumpkin pie is an exclusive, fall /
No, it's not. That's not
Thanksgiving
true.
dessert. I'm not eating some summer ass pumpkin pie.
I'd eat summer ass pumpkin pie.
Apple pie, overrated. All time overrated.
It's not
dessert.
overrated. I'm a big fan of like a cream pie, like a chocolate.
We know. Cream pie Andy. This is now we were bookends on this podcast. That was the original. It was pre-Denthead. That was your nickname.
God, what was that DirtBall? He sent me a shirt.
This is like the Peng Shuai thing. I'm like, wait, you spent 4 days with your girlfriend and cream pie Andy didn't even come up? I don't know. Was Kang Shuang watching you from the other room, making sure you didn't bring it up?
Okay, swag. We did fall down a rabbit hole watching some old dirty sports stuff. She became obsessed with Goldberg. She saw a video. She's like, who is this guy?
Imagine getting left for a Goldberg. She's like, who is this guy? Where does he live?
Okay, so somebody called in from Arizona named Tyler. Now, we thought it was
I knew it wasn't. I was too much was going on, but I knew that his voice was too high pitched.
I didn't know. We thought it. No, Randy Ruther is related to Tyler from Arizona.
Tyler McCoy.
Tyler McCoy. And I wasn't sure. So now Tyler is calling in to stake his throne.
Tyler, Randy Ruther's cousin, is now calling to stake his claim as the Tyler from Arizona.
Correct.
Hello, Andrew and Joseph. It is the real Tyler from Arizona, DirtBall. The real DirtBall who is Randy Ruther's cousin. The one who has seen Joe Praino live and in person multiple times. Been to a spring training DirtBall meetup. And, has gone out drinking golf with you guys a couple times. It's come to my attention that there is another Tyler from Arizona who called in last time and was mistaken for me. This Tyler from Arizona is an imposter. There's obviously only room for one Tyler from Arizona in the DirtBall fam. And I challenge imposter, inferior Tyler to anything. Do we want to do a round of DirtBall Jeopardy? Does Shabelli know style? Do we want to do, a pick'em? Do we want to do hand-to-hand combat? Do you want me to play this guy in Tiger Woods PGA Tour 13 on the Nintendo Wii? I'll do whatever it takes to prove that I am the one and only Tyler from Arizona DirtBall, that I am Randy Ruther's cousin, and that there's only room for one of us in the DirtBall fam, man. You can be Ty from Arizona. You can be Tyler from Nevada. But no, I'm Tyler from Arizona. I'm Randy Ruther's cousin. As Odell Beckham says, I'm him. That's all I got to say, boys. Tyler, if you're a man, take me up on my challenge. Stay dirty, boys.
Wow. So he's saying there can only be one Tyler from Arizona?
Yeah. I like how he offered him just Ty. He was like, you can be Ty from Arizona.
Why can't we have two Tylers from
I guess
Arizona?
technically you could be Lur from Arizona too. That would be weird, but.
Why can't we have two Tylers from Arizona?
Because this town's only big enough for one of us.
I think
I like it. I like these kind of DirtBall beefs.
Speaking of DirtBall beefs, again, down the dirty sports rabbit hole, saw the video of he who shall not be named against Alex from Kentucky. Remember they had a beef?
Yeah. There was a video of it?
Oh, yeah. I was laughing for sure.
They should have bonded over their love of Tennessee sports. I mean, he who shall not be named is still waiting for the Mike Conley, Mark Gasol championship run he predicted in 2015.
Zach Randolph.
And yeah. And what was his name from
Alex from Kentucky.
And Alex from Kentucky is still waiting for who he believes in Ryan Tannehill to be rightfully crowned the Super Bowl MVP.
You remember he would lip sync those Justin Bieber videos?
Yeah.
I'm hearing rumors that Aaron Rodgers to Tennessee.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. I saw that on your boy Pat McAfee's show because they were pushing what's his name, AJ Hawk on Aaron Rodgers buying a little real estate there, and what does it mean? First of all, what a move, right? That'd be a great move. I mean, talk about you wouldn't want to go to the AFC. That's where you want to go in the AFC.
It would that division.
Go to the AFC South. Go to a team that was the 1 seed. That's
You
a
got
quarterback
weapons.
away with weapons, with a
defense,
with a good coach. Yeah, that's the move.
That is for sure the move. No state income tax in Tennessee either. It's a football and financial move right there. Imagine that conference.
Clay Travis is a big Titans fan. He'll have a new podcast to share all his anti-vax stuff. I mean, it seems like a perfect fit for the guy.
I think Tennessee's a beautiful state. I mean, I would love that.
He's growing out that country crooner hair, throw on a Stetson, start playing the acoustic guitar.
Where would you put them if they got Aaron Rodgers? Like right there.
I mean, they were the 1 seed this year.
That's what I'm saying.
They were the 1 seed in the AFC. Everybody, the AFC's loaded. The AFC's loaded. The AFC's loaded. They were the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill, who I'm not even shitting on.
Yeah.
But he's not Aaron Rodgers.
It'd be crazy if they got him. I'm all for it. 310-359-8365. That's the hotline. Thanks for the calls. We can do a couple more. I know there's a couple about me and the Bengals. I'll save those for Super Bowl preview.
Okay. I like it.
Follow us on Twitter and the Instagram at The Dirty Sports.
You can follow me on all social media at Joe Praino, except for Twitter, where I am Fix Your Life. This week, this Wednesday, the new Venice Underground show I'll be at. And then Friday, Grand Comedy Club in Escondido for a couple shows. This weekend, see you at SoFi. See you at Super Bowl. Next week, hit the road again with Eddie Ift. We got Thursday, Friday in Rosemont, Illinois at Zanies, Saturday at the Chicago Zanies, Sunday at the Milwaukee Improv, and then all those dates and more going out into April, I believe, on joeprano.com. So check those out.
Awesome. All right, guys, that is our show. As always, big thanks for everyone who listens. See you Thursday. And as always, stay dirty.